The Australian teenager convicted of drugs charges in Bali is due home in Sydney early this morning. Our reporter Nick Dole joins us now from Sydney Airport. Nick, good morning. What details do we have about the boy's arrival back?
Well, good morning, Michael. The boy left in the early hours of the morning, we believe, Denpasar time, so that means he's due mid-morning. It's looking like he'll be in to Sydney International shortly after 10 o'clock this morning. Still a couple of hours, obviously, before that happens, and at the moment we've only got a fairly small throng of media, nothing like those scenes that have become synonymous, really, with this case, those huge packs of media crowding this boy, but I'm sure in a couple of hours the ranks will expand, and we'll expect to see another scene like we have all of those appearances.
And what do you know of his movements? I say it's fair to assume that he and his family will be going back to his house. It's in the Newcastle region of New South Wales, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's Morisset Park. It's on the Central Coast, not far from Newcastle, probably an hour and a half's drive from Sydney. We don't know exactly what the family is planning to do, but obviously they'll be thrilled to have him back after spending 2 months in a Balinese lockup. Some of the family have spent some time with him in Bali. His father has been there throughout most of it, appearing with him and offering support, and there's obviously family back at home who'll be thrilled to have him back as well. So a short drive, most likely back up to the family home. Having said that, though, given the amount of media interest that we can expect in this case, it could be that they choose to go to ground just to avoid some of that scrutiny and attention. And
Nick, you're forgiven for not knowing the answer to this, but of course there is a speculation dogging this family still that they've signed some sort of deal with some commercial network to sell their story.
Yeah, that's right, Michael. Obviously, you'll remember about 2 weeks or so ago back, there were reports that the Nine Network had signed a very lucrative deal with the boy and his family. That really came at the worst possible time for that, just before the verdict and the sentence. Certainly, the family and the legal team did not want any talk of that dogging the case. It would have been a pretty bad look. So the Nine Network and the family denied the speculation. But as you say, it has continued. There are reports that a Nine crew has flown over to Bali to speak with him, or at least get some sort of advance there. And the question really remains, even if a deal were to be done, and at the moment the agent of the family is saying there isn't one, but even if were to be done, there would be a legal argument suggesting that indeed that the proceeds of that deal could be confiscated by the government. We've seen the federal government do it a number of times before. You'll remember Schapelle Corby, who is still in a Balinese jail. She wrote a book, and there were proceeds from her book that eventually were confiscated in part by the government. And the same thing happened to David Hicks, the Guantanamo Bay detainee, who's had some of his assets frozen while the government tries to put a halt to the proceeds going to his estate.
Well, Nick, I'll let you get your elbow and shin pads ready to take part in that scrum in a couple of hours' time. Thank you very much for the update.